Today, we are going to be going over who I think the top 25 Brawlhalla players of all time are. As far as I know, I don't think anyone else has really done a list like this. So before anyone comments on if they think my list is garbage, dude, just make your own. I've gone through so much data to try and see who is the best. I come up with a few rules, and as you can see, BCX are greater than LANs, which are greater than online, because in onlines, you can only compete against your own region. LANs, you get to see everyone together. Then, of course, BCX. BCX is where the most people are going, and also it's where the competition is 100% going to be its hardest because there's the most on the line, right? It's like the tournament to win. This should kind of be obvious. Earnings don't affect placement on this list, but of course they can reflect it. Popularity also has no bearing on the placement, so just because you're really popular online, you have a big stream or you have a lot of YouTube subscribers, a lot of Twitter followers, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be on this list. If that was true, Egg Soup would be at like number 2 probably. And then this last point, maybe some people disagree with this, but I think 1v1s are going to be equal to 2v2s. At least that's how I treated it in this list. Elaborating on that point, if you only won with one teammate, maybe that can hurt you a little bit. It's not going to work against you really, right? You still have those wins. But if you are a 2v2 player and you've won with multiple partners, then that only legitimizes you as someone who is capable of winning with multiple people, right? You're not getting carried by someone who might be really high on this list. And of course, 1v1s, if you're winning a lot of 1v1 tournaments, that is a reflection of you individually being better skill-wise than the rest of your opponents. Whether it's a phone call, text, or email, it feels impossible to avoid spam nowadays. Since it's an election year in the US, I've been receiving weekly spam messages, and this is because big companies can't keep our data safe. Recently, AT&T has revealed that almost all of their customers' call and text records had been exposed in a huge data breach. And it hasn't even been a few months since they admitted over 70 million of their users' social security numbers ended up on the dark web. The stolen logs also contain records of every number AT&T customers called or texted. So even if you don't use AT&T, your number has been exposed without you even knowing. So what can you do to protect yourself? I use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura alerts me if they find my phone number or any other sensitive information that's been leaked. They also give me quick fraud alerts if anyone tries to use that data to access my credit or bank accounts. Aura is capable of so much more too, such as a VPN, antivirus, password manager, and an AI-powered call assistant that will pick up unknown calls on my behalf to screen them for spam or scams. The legitimate calls will be forwarded so I don't miss deliveries, emergencies, or appointments. It also protects me from harmful text messages by filtering out known spam numbers and scanning links in the message for phishing threats. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable to data breaches, and if you don't want to either, you can go to my link and try your first 2 weeks for free. So check the link in the description, and I hope you enjoy the video. So number 25, I have put Pavelski. I gotta admit, it was kind of hard finding someone for the number 25 spot. Pavelski has made, as you can see, decent earnings. He's a 5-time 1v1 champion, his best win being the BCX 20 1v1 EU championship, okay? I know that was an online BCX, and I know that was great sword meta. He still did win it, and also he followed it up with a few other wins. I know one of the wins was Parsec, I believe, and then at least 1, maybe 2 of the seasonals, and then he consistently was podiuming. 18 times he made it to the podium, which means you got top 3 or higher. So 11 in 1v1, that's pretty good. 7 in 2v2, that's also pretty good. I think he has 3 silver medals in 2v2, and then what did that mean? 4 bronze medals. Nonetheless, he showed that not only is he a champion in 1s, but he can place in 2s as well. Still does place to this day when he does care about competing, but obviously with how much success this guy has had in his socials, I don't think he necessarily cares too much about the competition now. Number 24 might be a bit controversial. I think that Zen is already in the top 25, and that could be a very bad take. I'm not trying to predict the future necessarily and like preemptively putting people on here, but his BCX win with Godly was extremely good, and also his performance, I think, really contributed to them winning that tournament. There was a lot of performances in that tournament alone where it was like, okay, he's 2v1ing here, he's 2v1ing this game, and then next thing you know, they're just winning the tournament without dropping a set. Godly, of course, is also a beast, and he is on this list. But already this year, Zen has won 2 of the seasonals, that being Winter Championship 2v2 and Summer Championship 2v2. Experience as well as a beast, and I was considering him being on this list, probably in the number 25 spot. But I feel like if experience can just get a LAN win, then maybe he would be in this spot or would like replace Zen or something. But I do have a good feeling Zen will continue to perform. I think he's probably in like top 3 2v2 players, maybe in the world, at the very least in North America. So we'll just kind of have to see how this one pans out. Now, initially in the 23 spot, I have power. Initially, I wasn't gonna include people who haven't been able to make it to a LAN event. He has gone to like Brazil lands, but I just felt like I couldn't exclude him. I think a lot of South Americans would have given me grief. Not that I would have cared really, but I had to include him because I saw that he has the most gold medals in South American 2v2s. Okay, come on. That means something. He's won with Wes. He's won with Hughes. I don't know if he's won with Lopez. I know he's teamed with Lopez before, but 13 times is crazy. 100% top 8 in 2v2s. I don't think anyone else in the world has that stat. Maybe Godly does or something. I wasn't paying attention to it because I was just trying to highlight people's best, I guess, achievements. And I think that is just crazy that he's gone 25 for 25 in the tournaments he's entered. Now, South America, of course, I still think South America is the weakest region, which is why he is lower. If he went to a LAN, he'd probably do well. But again, that's where that little kind of got to be picky and choosy of who I put on this list, because if I'm being honest, I do think North America is still the densest region in terms of skill. And then I think it is probably Europe. And then it goes South America. The South American players, though, that are at the top, and there's a few more on this list, they just tend to perform extremely, extremely well. Something I wanted to mention as well, he is a 3-time gold medalist in 1v1s, so he can win in ones, he can do well in ones, but obviously primarily probably, I mean, he just is statistically the greatest of all time in 2v2s. Another newer age player, Lores is very young, and just like Zen, I think there's a lot of room to grow here. But already he's won the Autumn Royale 23, and he got second in the Spring Royale 24, only losing to Kaina, which is his teammate, and then first in CEO 2024 2v2, the only LAN so far this year aside from BCX coming up in a few months. That is the first Brazil 2v2 LAN win, and of course, again, his teammate was Kaina, and it's not like he's getting carried by Kaina either. I want to say about Lores, last year in 2023, Kaina and him were not placing well. They were getting like 13th, they were getting 17th at LANs, and then Lores at Dallas, DreamHack Dallas 23, he played with Knees, they got second. He went to DreamHack Valencia, played with West, he got second. So this guy clearly can play with other people and do extremely good. Knees, by the way, is a European player, and then Wesley's great. He's also a Brazilian player. But in the Royales, Lores hasn't won like a seasonal or anything, or a trial even, I'm pretty sure. But I know at the Royales, he's only gone to these 2 Royales. I looked it up to make sure. He's only been to 2 Royales, and he's got first and second. That's really good. So I think that earned him that 22 spot pretty easily. Another European player, Blue. The biggest thing, if I had to critique Blue on one thing, right, is the fact that he's not a LAN champion. But with that being said, before there was like Acno, you know, kind of dominating the scene for a while in the Godlies, there was Blue. He's a 14-time online champion, 6 gold medals in 1v1s, 8 gold medals in 2v2s, and he also got top 8 over 50% of the time in both 1v1s and 2v2s. So he was clearly dominating both game modes. I'm pretty sure him and his teammate Simple, they were actually gatekeeping Acno Blaze from winning like 2v2 tournaments in the region for a while, and then eventually, of course, Acno Blaze did start winning, and then also Blue, when he did come to LAN, he did place all right. I just remember that first BCX 2018, he lost to Cody Travis in winners, and that was kind of disappointing because he was like the hope at the time. Like, he was like, oh my gosh, this guy is so good. Like, he's gonna be the guy to kind of put EU on the map for once, like, actually. In the number 20 spot, now I put myself, it feels weird ranking myself. I don't know if I put myself too high or too low. Nonetheless, I don't have a 1v1 medal. I think that's something that's definitely held me back. I've top 8'd on LAN in both game modes. 2v2s, I've been able to win with several different people. Lil Capped, iThrow, Remy, and Cody, I've all been able to win with. I have a LAN win under my belt with Remy at low tier city 19. And then probably the one I'm most proud of. Yeah, I like the second in all-time PR points. The only person to beat me is Boomy. But I have won every seasonal at least once. I think I was one of the first people. I don't know if I was the first in North America, but I think I might have been like second or something in North America. And then I know there was probably someone already in Europe who did it, or already in like South America who maybe did it. But yeah, 2x winter, 2x spring, 1x summer, 1x autumn. I won, I'm trying to think, let's see, summer with Cody, autumn with Remy, and then I know I won spring with Lil Capped. The ones I won with iThrow were, or I won just one with iThrow. That wasn't a seasonal. I know I won one with Cody as well, and then I guess I must have won one with Lil Capped winter again. But yeah, point is, I've won pretty much all the 2v2 tournaments you can win aside from BCX, which, you know, at the stage I'm in at this point, it'd be really cool to get one, but I need to, I think, find a little more motivation to really have any reality of attaining that goal. So we'll see. Maybe this year, I doubt it, but if 2025 looks juicy, dude, hey, maybe I'd come back in full swing. In the number 19 spot, I have Simple. Simple is top 3 in all-time PR for 1v1s and 2v2s in Europe. Second 1v1, third in 2v2, podiumed 48 times. 22 in 1v1, 26 in 2v2. Now, the story of Simple, you know how I mentioned he was Blue's teammate, but at the LANs Blue would go to, at the onlines Blue would play in, dude, this guy would chronically get like second place. He would like always be in top 2 of 1v1s or 2v2s. And it's actually crazy. If he like just won the tournaments more, I know I'm making it sound simple, but if he like didn't have this many second places and they were first places instead, he might be top 5 like all time easily. Which makes it even more impressive, the fact that he had that level of consistency, and that level of consistency has him at the number 19 spot. I don't believe he has a LAN win, but he did always place good just all around. Like longevity wise, he was just very consistent. I shouldn't say longevity. He was very consistent in placements, and you know, that earned him a spot in the top 20 for sure. Impala, before I start glazing, okay, dude does not play 2v2s, and it kind of drives me crazy because I think he's missing out on free money. I get everyone has their strengths and weaknesses and likes and dislikes, but he won BCX 1v1 22, then next event won San Diego 23, and is a top 5 1v1 LAN player, right? Like, he just won't be outside of the top 5. Impala is, I'm pretty sure, he's made top 32 8 times. 0 of those times they have been converted into a top 8, which I don't like, you know. The BCX championship and the consistency that he's had since BCX 22 is very good. It should be rewarded. I think he's definitely within the top 25, maybe a little too high. But like literally everyone else on this list, I'm pretty sure, has a win in either game mode or just very dominant in one game mode. He has pretty limited championships, but I do think they are valuable. So therefore it should be rewarded by being on this list. But yeah, if he just played in 2v2s and like was able to kind of push through, he would probably be getting top 8 and maybe even win if he had the right teammate. Out of any Brazilian player, I think Fiend probably has the most longevity. There might be only one other person, and they're right ahead of him, but at number 17, Fiend is all-time PR points, first in 1v1s and second in 2v2, and a 12-time 1v1 champion. The only person ahead of him is arguably the greatest of all time in South America, Kaina, with 13 gold. So dude's been playing the game since it's come out and consistently has done well every single year. At CEO, he didn't top 8 in 1s, but in 2v2s, him and Hughes actually got 3rd. So he's still placing. That's very, very good. Right ahead of him, I put Wesley. Now, just like how if we go back, you see first in 1v1, second in 2v2. It's the opposite. Second in 1v1 and first in 2v2 for all-time PR points. Something I want to add, Fiend is only ahead of him in 1v1 points, like barely. So Wes is extremely close, like less than 100 PR points, which is not much at all. That can be changed in one tournament. Wesley is probably bound, at least for a little bit, to be in all-time PR points #1 in both game modes, which is pretty crazy. That would mean he is statistically the best performing, maybe not best performing, I don't know how to word it, but he'd just be #1 in that, and that's pretty cool. 11-time 2v2 champion, and then he also has 13 silver medals, so he is a 24-time grand finalist, which is pretty crazy. And then this year, he has found a little bit more success in 2v2s, because kind of Loras were kind of running the region a little bit, and now him and Vem, his teammates Vem 10 Kilo, I think is how you say his name, they've won spring and summer 2v2s, which is pretty big. They also got 5th at CEO. I thought they were going to go farther, but they kind of got reverse swept by Fiend and News, and then, you know, they dropped down to losers and lost to the guys who won the tournament, which was kind of Loras. So it's kind of a tough run, but I wouldn't be surprised if Wesley ends up doing extremely good in both game modes at BCX. He also got 2nd in CEO 1v1s, which is a big deal, and also has crossed $100,000 in earnings. And I want to say this, I'll talk about it more later, but there is someone else who crossed $100,000. You probably can guess it. And Wesley did not cross it at the same time. I checked the numbers right after the tournament. Wesley was at like $99,000 and like $700. He was just a few $100s off. So he was not the first player, I'm pretty sure, to cross $100,000 in South America. He was the second, technically. Cody Travis, former teammate, also a multiple-time 1v1 and 2v2 champion, but preferably he's always been kind of a 2v2 guy, although in 2020, like over COVID in 2021, he found a crazy stride, not only in 2s, but in 1v1s as well. The guy, like, I mean, it's crazy. He was just started winning everything. Like, people were talking about, like, dude, he's probably just, like, top 3 best 2v2 players on the planet, and then 1v1s, probably the same thing. He's had great LAN performances as well. He's never found a LAN win, but it's undeniable that in both game modes for a few years, and I would say even still, at least in 2v2s, he's definitely a very big threat, if not one of the best. And his best 1v1 win is BCX Online 2021. He might have had the best Blasters performance I've ever seen when he was fighting Sandstorm. I don't think I've ever been like that impressed. Of course, you know, I was his teammate. I was rooting for him and everything else. And then his most recent or best win was the Winter Championship 2021, which he won with me, which was pretty cool. That went into, I don't know if it was a game 10. I don't think it was, but it went to a bracket reset versus Boomy Sandstorm. He was playing Lord Vrax, 3-strength Lord Vrax, dude. I remember it was crazy because I was like, dang, dude, like, I dropped like 700 on Kaya. I'm feeling good. Bro dropped like 900 on Lord Vrax. So that was an insane performance by him again. And then just something else. I figured he might like this if he sees this. I think it's worth mentioning. You probably could say this for a few players on this list with like their respective weapons. But I do think that he is the best Blasters player of all time. Now, there is someone else ahead of him. You know, you have Boomy. Of course, I'm not even going to try to hide it. You have Boomy, who you could probably consider up there because Boomy has some other performances that might beat out Cody's. But I think I'll give it to Cody, and yeah, #1 Barraza, best Blasters guy, beast. Addy Mestic, bit of an old head pick, I know. He won the first EU 2v2 BCX with his teammate Cake at BCX 2018, and then also the year before that, he got 2nd in 1v1 and 2v2, which was really crazy. People were like, dude, this is like the best BCX performance overall to date, which wasn't saying much, of course, because it was only the 2nd year, but for a good bit, Addy Mestic was considered to be like part of the best team, which was him and Cake, and then also, I should say, best team at least in Europe. And then in 1v1s, he was a guy that was a threat to win tournaments and did win tournaments throughout 2017 and 2018 in both game modes. At 13, I put Snowy. It low-key feels weird having Snowy be this high, but I think he actually has earned it. 5-time 2v2 champion. He has 2 lands, BCX 2022 with Boomy, right? And it's like, oh, well, he just won with Boomy. Of course he's going to be able to win with Boomy. It's Boomy. right? But then he won DreamHack Dallas 2023 with Luna, and they looked really good on that too. And also, he has a few onlines. I know he's won an online with Santi, and then he's won an online with Luna, I think, and then he's won an online with Boomy. So, of course, he has some diversity. He's very clearly one of the best 2v2 players of all time. And then also, he has a 1v1 championship. I thought this was like earlier. I didn't know it was in 2022. That's not that long ago. He won Winters on Rayman. And I really feel like ever since then, I know there was a performance at like Parsec. I think that was 2021 where he got second. But after he won this, there was a period of time where this guy was like very capable of winning both game modes. Only one win though in ones. Nonetheless, a BCX title and the diversity in teammates and stuff is very good to his legacy. Ahead of him, I put Noel. Noel was like, basically, if I had to sum him up, a Lanimal. He would play online, and there was times early on where he would win like the online tournaments, but he was very open about not caring. And, you know, you could say, oh, well, it's just talk. He's just saying that. Dude, this guy has won LANs 5 times. He won Combo Breaker, Shine, DreamHack Summer, Valencia, and Winter. Bro went international, won that. And the home turf, you know, North America, he was winning that stuff. When it came to 1v1s, Noel was one of the original guys where you'd fight him and you'd be like, dude, this guy's passive. He was always ahead in terms of like how the game should be played. And I think overall, like game IQ or game sense, he was very, very smart in that regard. And it definitely showed with the achievements he had. His mental was extremely strong. I don't know if he had any 2v2 wins. His teammate was mainly Blood Diamond, but I think they did place like second a few times, third a decent amount. Like they were one of the better teams for when they were playing together. But while Noel was active, he definitely racked up a lot of wins. And then also he is third in all-time North American 1v1 PR points, which is pretty crazy considering the only 2 people ahead, I believe, are Boomy and Sandstorm. Maybe people will disagree with Noel and Wrenched placement, but I think Wrenched has very underrated wins. I know they were back in 2019, but during that time, Wrenched could have easily been gatekept from winning these tournaments because that was when Sandstorm was like possibly at his peak powers, right? The guy was winning everything in 2v2s with Boomy. He was winning just about everything 1v1s, and he actually stopped Wrench from winning on a few occasions at LAN. But then in 1v1, yeah, he got the 5 gold medals. He went on a 4 tournament win streak that year. He eventually found his stride. I think it was a Qatar patch, so I know, you know, I don't try and look at that what the meta was, because everyone at some point is going to have their main weapon probably be pretty good if you play the game long enough, and he made the most of it. He won Summer Championship, into Shine, which was a LAN, into Montreal, which was a LAN, and then Autumn Championship. And I gotta say, bro, like, totally, I mean, he's like the only person, I think, at least at that time, or was the first person to truly, like, what I perceive as breaking Sandstorm. At Montreal, Sandstorm literally looked like he gave up because Wrench just kind of had him downloaded. He can say whatever he wants. That's just what it kind of looked like. I think he ended up, like, dittoing him or like picking Lin Fei, and Wrench just destroyed him in Autumn Championships too. Wrench actually beat me to get into Grand Finals at Autumn Championship 2019, and then he proceeded to, someone will correct me if I'm wrong, I think he 6-0'd Sandstorm, which I don't know if anyone else has done that since. That is a massive achievement, and I know that's like not as good as winning more tournaments, but it's still something worthwhile to be mentioned. In 2v2s, he did get second a few times with Costalix, third place a few times, never first, but yeah, 2 lands under his belt, 2 other or onlines, I guess technically 3 onlines. I couldn't find the 5th gold medal, but yeah, technically 5-time, but probably as far as majors, just a 4-time. Another newer age player, and arguably I could put a picture of Derek Rose on here because this guy, Luna, has been so promising, and it is kind of sad that he has an injury currently because a lot of North American players have been freaking out like, dude, we're like the worst we've ever been. Oh my gosh, we're done for, dude. People finally caught up. We're finished. Bro, we lost like our #1 ranked player in both game modes due to an injury, and we still have like Sandstorm. We don't have Boomy anymore. we're fine, right? My hope is Luna will come back and get back to his former self. It would suck if he never reached, I guess, his actual peak. But during his time active, he won lands in both 1v1s and 2v2s, was the MSI 2022 champion, Winter Royale 2023 champion, DreamHack Dallas 2023 champion in 2v2. And that's lands alone, which is very good, right? He is a 12-time champion overall, and it's an even split, so you know he's very good in both game modes. He has won 6 golds in 1v1s and 6 golds in 2v2s. He's won with Pugsy several times. He's won with Snowy several times. Like, dude can do it all, and at his peak, he is one of the best players on this earth and definitely one of the best players of all time. And I think already, even though, like I said, he is injured, I think he's done a lot more than people who have been around in this game for years, right? He's done like double the amount of stuff in like half the time. So if he does come back, there's no doubt in my mind that he will rise higher into the top 10. Remy's going to enjoy seeing himself at number 9, I think. 6-time LAN 2v2 champion. Shine, BCX, DreamHack Austin, Montreal, Valencia, and Low Tier City. Now, something I think that was important to him, and I don't know if he'll admit it or not, when he was teaming with Boomy, Boomy very clearly was the best 2v2 player on Earth, right? And he is of all time. So I think when he teamed with me, once Boomy started teaming with Sandstorm, it was very important to have him get a LAN win with someone aside from Boomy, right? I know he wanted to help me also get a LAN win, but like that was definitely a big deal to him. And we got it at Low Tier City. We did get that. We also won a few times online together. And of course, you know, 5 of the other ones were him and Boomy, and him and Boomy also won online sometimes. And he wasn't just a 2s player, right? It might be dated, but he did win Summer Championship 1v1s in 2017. I know there was another tournament he won that year. I think going into BCX 2017, he was actually seed 1, which was pretty crazy considering he ended up going 0-2. I think he actually had to fight LDZ like round 1 that year, which is very sad considering LDZ ended up winning the tournament, but it's just how it worked out. Yeah, he's done a lot, and now he's done some work as an analyst, but as far as statistics go, he has to be, I think, in the top 10. I don't think when it comes to people name dropping 2v2 GOATs, there is Boomy, of course, right? He's the most name dropped ever. Be like, oh, who's the GOAT? Boomy, Boomy. Blaze is the most talked about EU player probably when it comes to this game mode. He has the most golds in Europe. 22 times he has won 2v2s. And then he went on a 17-tournament win streak in 2v2s with Acno. That is like unreal dominance. People would say that's like Sandstorm level dominance, and they were doing it in 2v2s. It's crazy. He's also won with Godly recently. He has several lands under his belt. He has Valencia, I believe, San Diego, and this is last year in 2023. He's gotten second at BCX, I think, last year as well. Like, him and Acno were extremely strong together. Him and Godly, they were a team, but I think right now, and maybe you could blame it on the state of esports, Blaze just doesn't find it worthwhile to compete, or so I've heard. So I don't know if he's still going to be competing the rest of this year. We'll just kind of have to see. But nonetheless, the achievements he has are crazy and possibly is the best, well, technically is the best 2v2 player of all time in that region. Now, I don't think Use technically has a ton of wins overall, but what this guy has done for South America is extremely important, and I do think that helps him a bit. He was the first South American to win a Royale, right, which is an invite-only tournament of 1v1s with like the best players in the world from Europe, North America, and South America. He won that without dropping a set, right? So he didn't lose at all. And then he won an open LAN, DreamHack Dallas 2023, which was crazy. And then he ended up winning BCX 2023, and he didn't drop a set there either. In fact, he's like the last person probably to just absolutely obliterate Kaina, because in that set, it was kind of close. He did 3-0 Kaina to win BCX, so that is very, very crazy. And then something else, I know this isn't necessarily relating to Brawlhalla, but because of his achievements in Brawlhalla, he did win the Premio Esports Brazil award. I think I missed an R in Brazil, but Fighting Game Player of the Year 2023, which is pretty cool. I don't think anyone else in Brawlhalla has won an award like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was a very cool thing. You can like find it online. Like there's a whole video of him like going up on stage and getting a reward, and it's not like a crappy thing. It's actually like a very nicely produced event. So that was kind of cool to see someone from Brawlhalla get recognition like that. But yeah, in terms of legacy, I think it is very important that Use is in top 10, and just with what he's done, you know, he was that guy that can say, I did it first. I did it first in literally every area aside from 2v2s. Maybe this is a pick people don't necessarily like at number 6, but the 2-time, I think because he has 2 BCXs, which is the second most 1v1 BCXs behind Sandstorm, I think number 6 is fair to me, but I could totally see why people would want to put him like outside of the top 10, especially if you are a newer age player. Something I should mention with him, he's only missed a top 8 at LAN once at BCX 2019. He got 13th in 1v1. And also, he is the GOAT West Coast player because he's won both online and LAN, and I don't think a West Coaster has done that since. I might be wrong. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. Even in 2019, that was like his last really active year. He was still placing. He was still getting like 3rd at low tier city 2019. I know he made top 8s in other lands that year. Like 2019 was a year where he was going to lands, and also in 2v2s he did place well. I know he won online 2v2 stuff with Boomy, I believe. A LAN, he never won a 2v2 LAN, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. He could be probably bumped down, admittedly, but I think for now, I like the 2-time at number 6. Number 5, I had to put Acno, because he is statistically the greatest of all time in Europe, okay? All-time PR points, 1st in 1v1, 2nd in 2v2, and he has won at least one tournament every year since 2019. His first win was Summer Championship in 2019, and his most recent win was with Delta in Summer Champs 2024 2v2s, okay? So I don't know how many other people have been doing that. Like, the ability to win a tournament every year in either game mode, not only does it show like your skill set is diverse, because he's won with Blaze, he's won with Delta. There's probably someone else he's teamed with that I can't remember, and he's probably won with them. But also to be able to play 1v1s and like win multiple tournaments is very crazy, right? I mean, he's 1st in all-time PR points in 1v1, so that is very insane. And of course, the earnings reflect that. He's made, I think, the most out of any European player. Yeah, it's just, there's not a player in Europe that is better than him, aside from one person, which I'm sure you can guess. Heine, first LAN double champion since 2019, which was Sandstorm at BCX 2019. So that's saying a lot. The fact that the only person to do this, aside from him, is Sandstorm. Yeah, I mean, he won both game modes at CEO. He was in losers for 2v2s, but dude, he looked really good in 2v2s on Taros. And his follow-ups with Laura's were extremely good. Both of them did fantastic. And then in 1v1s, he killed it. It wasn't that close in 1v1s, if I'm not mistaken. He had a few game 5s, maybe like one game 5. I know it was versus Anime Fan, but even then, dude, when you get him to the game 5s, he finds ways to just shut you down. He is extremely dominant in 1v1s currently. And I did put him as the first South American player to cross $100,000, and that was confirmed after CEO 2024, where he won both game modes, like I said. And then the craziest stat, by far the craziest stat for this guy, is his first win at Spring Championship 2022. His 1v1 placement has averaged at 1.7, which includes both LAN and online. It's not just like, oh, his placements are getting boosted up because he's only fighting, you know, trash cans in Brazil. No, this guy is coming to lands, and he is, like, able to still average overall 1.7. Like, he's averaging under a second placement. You know how crazy that is? Bro is guaranteed to get grand finals every tournament he goes into, pretty much. That's ridiculous. Yeah. I think number 4 kind of hasn't been around for that many years. Like I said, first win was Spring Championship 2022, but dude is a phenom at Brawlhalla. And he's one of the people, just like the other South Americans on this list, he's one of the guys that makes that region in my opinion, look better than what it might be. I'm not saying you guys are bad. Okay, don't come after me, right? I'm not Walshy. I'm not saying you guys are trash. You've already proved you're not trash. But, dude, you guys just got a few players who are way better than the rest of the world, and it is fantastic to see. I think it's good for competition. But yeah, it's very well earned and maybe kind of will move higher up on this list. Ahead of him, though, I did put Godly, who... Let me check really quick. Okay, so I did say Akno was the highest earner in EU. He's the second highest because Godly, he lives up to his name, ironically. First EU 1v1 LAN champion, which is at DreamHack Valencia 2023. He also did win BCX 2023 with Zen. So he has a BCX title. He has a LAN title, right? He's a LAN champion, the first EU one at that. And then he has won every EU 1v1 tournament since Spring Championship 2023. He's won all the trials this year. No one has like come even close to beating him in the trials this year. He is probably going to have a 100% win rate in at least online tournaments for 1v1s this year. I don't even know if Sandstorm has done that. That's pretty crazy. He has a 58% win rate in 1v1 tournaments entered. His most recent performance on LAN was pretty poor, but I think he's suffers from jet lag pretty bad. I think the traveling affects his performance. That is cope. I'm not trying to give a John or an excuse, but yeah, he got like 25th at CEO, which was quite unusual for him, but still almost a 60% win rate and 1v1 tournaments entered is wild. And I think even with the bad placement recently, that shouldn't overshadow all the other stuff that he's already been able to do. So number 3 is very, very good. Definitely, I think, a top 5 player of all time. At the number 2 spot, I have Booming with over $200,000 made, 5-time BCX 2v2 champion, won 2017 with Remy, won 2019 and 2020 and 2021 with Sandstorm, and then won 2022 with Snowy. Crazy. Yeah, just most ever BCX 2v2 championships. Then he has 65 top 32s, 32 first places. He has almost a 50% win rate in 2v2 tournaments entered. So that does include LANs and onlines. That's a ridiculous stat to have, and I figured I would include it. But moving on to number 1, do you really think it would be anyone else? This guy has made the most money from Brawlhalla, over $250,000 made. BCX 2019 was the definitive GOAT performance, first in 1v1s, first in 2v2s, and then first at the Pro Series Super Final, where the best team who won like the Pro Series in North America, which was him, Remy, and Boomy, they fought the best team in Europe, which, if I remember, it was Simple Blue, and I don't remember the other person, but it was NA versus EU. They won that. He made like 33 grand from that event, which was definitely by far the most money ever made at a LAN at that time. And then he has 60 top 32s, 27 first places, which is 45% win rate of 1v1 tournaments entered. Again, that includes both online and LAN wins. Yeah, the OG double champ. This guy is... I don't know. I don't know if anyone's ever going to, like, beat his legacy that he has. And he's still winning, by the way. It's not like even Boomy, he is now playing World of Warcraft. You see him in the Team Liquid jersey. That's what he's doing, right? He's not Team Liquid Brawlhalla. He's Team Liquid World of Warcraft. And he's just hasn't really been competing this year. Sandstorm has been winning the trials. Of course, he's taken more of a 1v1 approach. And if I had one critique, let me critique the GOAT real quick, all right? Don't hate me. His only 2v2 wins are with the best 2v2 player of all time. Now, it makes sense that they teamed up. I totally understand it. I doubt that really is much of a knock. But what would only, like, solidify him further is if he teamed with someone and then won a 2v2 tournament with them. Because then it's like, okay, clearly this guy can do it all, right? He obviously can do it all, but it would, like, statistically show... oh, he doesn't need Boomy to win 2v2s. But still, even the 1v1 achievements alone, I think, might be enough to have him be at number 1. The 2v2 placements he has with Boomy are just, like, icing on the cake at that point. So that is the GOAT list. It took a long time to compile all this info together. I hope you guys found out some pretty cool stats. I know I did. So, of course, please like the video. And then I guess, if you didn't like the video, don't dislike it. Comment who you think I might have ranked wrong. what you liked about it, or where you think I should have gone, right? Hey, and if you're a pro watching this and you're gonna call this list trash, make your own list, upload it. It'll probably get views. I hope this does decent numbers. I haven't seen anyone else do this. So, yeah, dude, just back it up. Let me see what you have, dude. Let me make fun of your list, all right? Let me make fun of your list. But, yeah, sorry I haven't been uploading much. I've been mainly streaming a lot more, so twitch.tv/Phazon. Check that out. Of course, subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace.